Good evening, coaches. Randy Brown here with College Coach Now. This is our Elite Mentoring Program. It is Thursday, May 29th, and it is a pleasure to be here with you. We have a fantastic program tonight. We have a ton of coaches on the line and many more coming, and that's awesome. And I see that we have some guests, and I will make sure I make a note of that too. But our program tonight is about making a 12-month plan for success, and I really want you to take to heart this picture that you see on the screen right now, because to go from point A to point B in our lives, in our careers, and anything we do is what we want because we get impatient, but it isn't the way to approach it. And everything is a process, and your career is a process. And so down there in the right-hand corner you see today, that's where we're all at right now. And what I want to do with you tonight is give you an opportunity to look forward 12 months to this spot in the upper left on this picture, because that's where you're going to be. How do you do it? Do you just take off and run as fast as you can? No, obviously not. First of all, you got to have a plan. We're going to talk about that. And you have to persevere, and you have to be committed to your plan. And you have to make slow and steady progress according to the plan that you've put together. And eventually you will begin to cover ground, to make progress, and work your way up this mountain. Now, I was searching for a picture that was really going to visually do a good job of illustrating what our program's about tonight. So I was pleased that I was able to find that. So very good. We have our normal cast of coaches tonight in our Elite Mentoring Program. I'm going to actually introduce a new member as of yesterday here in a few minutes, but also wanted to recognize some coaches who have been involved in our Fast Track program, who continue to want to learn more and move ahead with their career. They're excited, and every once in a while I extend an opportunity for those coaches who have been through Fast Track to jump into one of our Elite Mentoring programs, which of course is a members only type of program opportunity. And so I want to greet the coaches that I just dropped in the chat box there. Those were the coaches that contacted me today after I invited them to come aboard and take a look at what we do in Elite Mentoring. And I started to do this a while back, and I'm glad I did, because, I know what Elite Mentoring is. I know what Fast Track is. But a lot of times the coaches who are very interested and who have contacted me don't really know what those things are. And that's why it's neat for you guys to get a peek at what one of our live webinars is all about. And we're covering a very, very important topic tonight too. And I know that you all will glean a lot from the program tonight. So welcome to our guests, and honestly, I would love to have every one of you on this program sometime next week when we go again, and have you be full-fledged members of the College Coach Now Elite. I know Daniel Larkin just emailed me today. In fact, we hooked up on LinkedIn, and so he hasn't been through the Fast Track, but that will be exactly where I'm going to lead him. And so, Dan, I'm glad you're here with us tonight with these great coaches. Here's our agenda. I've kind of all over the map with some announcements for you guys, and some things I think you'll find very interesting and valuable. I want to talk about your summer plans and give you some ideas on some things that you can do to make yourself more productive this summer. Summers seem to fly by, and unfortunately, they're gone before we know it, and we're like, well, what did I really do? Did I do anything to become a better coach? And that's absolutely mandatory, that we're always learning and becoming a better coach. The focus of the program is making the 12-month plan for success so we can wind our way up that mountain. And then, like we always do, any Q&A that you have, not only at the end, but anytime during the program, that's what the chat box is for. Feel free to just dump a question in there. It could be me. It could be for one of the other coaches. This is a real neat way for our guests to hook up with the coaches that are in the program. So there's Jeff Richardson and let me run through there's Derek Olich, and we'll have several of the other guys popping in and out, and so you can run things by those guys. But use that chat room. That's for you guys. I was hoping John would be on the program tonight, our new member in the Elite Mentoring with College Coach Now, John Wishmeyer, and he's at Shepherd University. He's a student assistant, and not unlike most of you, found out about our program, found out that I was, as a former college coach with a lot of experience, was working with coaches. He contacted me, got him the information, and he has jumped aboard. So we want to welcome him, and as we always do, have our members go ahead and either send a text message or an email to him and welcome him to the group. The power of the group, the power of the program is in the people in the program, without a question. So now, I just mentioned, Anthony just shared some great news with us about a job he just found out about that he got, which is wonderful news. And then I wanted to share this too. You know, everybody's in a different place, and I get some coaches who come into the program for a little bit, they learn a lot, and then for one of various reasons, they need to kind of step out a little bit from the program, and this was the case with Harold Excellent from Canada. He was with us for over 2 years, I think, and then he sent me this email, and this is why I do what I do, and I find great joy in helping coaches have the feeling again that I had when I got the call from the University of Arizona to be a graduate assistant. And, I just didn't know if I wanted to teach freshman social studies and math the rest of my life and coach high school basketball. And there was nothing like the feeling. And when I got that phone call, and to hear your guys' stories is just incredible. So here's his email here. 3 years ago, when he first started to work with us, I advised him to go out, and I always say get a 3-hour radius around where you live. Identify all the colleges, and go introduce yourself, and go watch practice. All right? You'd be shocked at how many there are within a 3-mile radius. 3-hour radius. So he says today he's been hired officially by the same school for my first paid assistant coaching gig. It's Durham College in Ontario, Canada. And I'm really proud of him because he went through a couple other, sort of semi-pro situations, helping out with a youth program and different things. He just really has persevered. And to get this email from him is very gratifying. So congratulations to him. Coach Excellent is up there in Canada. He's got a college coaching job, and what is really cool about it is it's one of the schools that he went to right away when I had given him that advice on get out and meet people that are close to you geographically. He did, and that's where he's working now. So that is awesome. Tomorrow is a big day for member Taylor Harris. Taylor is really one of the foundation guys of College Coach Now, and he is assistant at Metro State, Division II school, who's been to the last 2 Final Fours in Division II, finished second 2 years ago, and they got beat in the semis this year. He's interviewing for a head coaching position tomorrow on a phone interview, and so I want him to know that we're pulling for him tomorrow. And he and I talked for a long time yesterday, and he wrote down everything that we covered. And so I told him when this thing is done, whether he gets the job or not, that I want him to put it together, and we'll call it Strategies of the Phone Interview, because there is a particular skill set and particular strategies that go with interviewing over the phone. And so we talked about a bunch of good stuff. That'll give us an opportunity to share that with everybody. And then you guys will be up to speed too. Member Christy Martin out in um, Oregon had a potential interview. She had contacted me about interviewing information. And so I just dropped a ton of documents on her to read in preparation for this potential interview. And I'm still in the process of finding out how that all worked out. But she was working really hard. She's done a good job at Blue Mountain Community College and looking to move ahead. Spent some time with member Bobby Howard. Bobby is out at Montana Western, and he's an energy, or excuse me, he's a synergy editing guy, and I call him an expert because he's very well versed in what Synergy presents. Those of you that don't know, it is a video system whereby you can access every college basketball game in the country every day and for the whole season. And he has learned how to make clips. He has learned how to really maximize the system that they have. Make great game prep, scouting, edits, those types of things. Well, he and I got online, and he actually took me through the process of editing the Synergy clips, which is really good. In fact, if you guys go to my YouTube channel, you will look for the edit clip of Doug McDermott. And it is a phenomenal teaching tool for players and coaches to watch Doug and the way he positions himself and uses spacing and his footwork and just the incredible hands and touch that he has. But Bobby put together a really, really nice clip. And let me type in the chat box. It's Coach RB basketball. So if you just go to YouTube and type that in, you'll go to my channel, and I've got a ton of information on there. But one of them is the clip that Bobby did on Doug McDermott. So I wanted to just shout out to him. Derek Olich is a member of our group. He's on the program tonight, and he and I have been talking about a new opportunity that he may be close to securing, and so we want to make sure he knows we're pulling for him. And when that happens and we're able to actually talk about it, we certainly will do on one of the upcoming programs. And I also know that a couple of our members, Ido Singer and Jeff Richardson, are also aggressively pursuing jobs. So why do I do this? Well, I'm big into victories. No matter how big or how small the victory. I think that if you take the time to be handwriting notes, like I really believe you should, and you get one back in the mail and you feel good, you rip that thing open and it's a return handwritten note from a Division I coach, that's a victory. Guys getting jobs are victories. Pursuing jobs, victories. These are all great things. There's a lot of great energy going on in this program, and especially for our guest tonight, I really think it's important that you understand that all this is going on over in the last 3 to 5 days. All of this is going on, and there are other things, if they haven't been shared with me by some of the members, that that you can add those too. But these are the ones that, just off the top of my head, have happened in the last few days. So that it's a fast moving. We've got all kinds of great stuff going on, and guys getting jobs and learning, which is what it's all about. And then I want to thank Ryan McIntyre. I want to thank Max, and I want to thank Michael Haney for helping with a bunch of projects. And if there's something you want to help me with my Coach RB websites or any of our audio or video, we are working like crazy. Social media, you can get great experience, and these guys have just jumped in and helped me, and I really, really appreciate that. It helps a lot. Last thing before we move on, I am running Tough U, and Tough U is a summer college skills academy that I'm running in both Des Moines, Iowa, June 20 and 21, and Sioux City, Iowa, on July 25 and 26. And member Zach Pasha, one of your fellow coaches in Elite Mentoring, is my assistant in this venture. It is going to be a Friday night for 4 hours and all day Saturday, and it'll be a very intense, demanding, physically and mentally challenging type of a workout experience. It'll be different than anything these college guys have ever been through. And there's two things that I love to do when I work these college guys out. Is number one, make sure that everything we do is applicable to the game. One of my pet peeves is, I always say, well, how many dribbling drills do you really need? And I see so much stuff out there about dribbling. It's just a small part of the game. Yeah, you have to have ball skills, but I'm telling you, if what you're working on, coaches, what you're working on with your team, and players, what you're working on when you're in the gym, if it doesn't replicate the game, I think you're wasting time. So that's one cornerstone of what we do in our Tough U Academy. And then the other one is to greatly challenge them mentally. And we will do a lot of things where they've got to think on the run. And you find guys make a lot of mistakes. When the ball comes through the net, we grab it with two hands. And guys are just used to grabbing it with one hand. And maybe they have their whole life. But if I've explained a drill and said, okay, now when the ball goes through the net, we're going to grab it with two hands. That's where you want the light to go off for your players and to execute something they're not used to executing. That's just a real small example. But I love this because I love to be on the floor with these guys. And I just mentioned it because if you guys want to come and be involved either as a observer or possibly in some other way, I would love to have you. I mean, if we could have a gym full of coaches watching, that would be awesome. And I think we will definitely have some coaches. But I want to let you know you're welcome at both of those events this summer that Zach and I are doing. Here's just a quick little nugget. I just saw this today, and I'm on LinkedIn a lot, and I think I'm at about 4,500 connections on LinkedIn, and in fact, that's how I tracked Dan Larkin down. But I saw this today, and I thought this is really cool. I wanted to share this with you. Head student manager for Florida Atlantic University's men's basketball program. So in his profile, he's actually put together a real nice logo, if you would, and I'm big on branding. You all, every one of you, are building your own brand. And what he's done is he's gone a little bit out of the box and put a real nice logo together there with his name. Name recognition's big. You got to get your name in front of people so that they remember. And I just thought that this is really neat. This is, if you want to, it's a graphic business card is what it is, virtual business card. So anyway, a lot of great stuff out there, and anything that I see that I think is going to be helpful to our coaches, I always throw it on the program. So I wanted to share that with you. One other thing I want to make sure that you know about. There is a group, TPG Sports, and there's their website right there on the bottom of the screen, tpgsportsgroup.com. And these guys have what a basketball clinic called Masters of Coaching, but they also now are getting very specific into seminars for scouts. So this is a pro scout school where they're going to teach you how to be a scout. And obviously, if you're leaning towards moving to the NBA and you want that kind of experience, I would go to the website and take a look. You can read here what it's all about. Anybody interested in scouting, player personnel, basketball operations. And so executive scouts, agents, media, and general managers at professional level will be there. And it sounds like a really, really neat event. I know those guys a little bit, and it's something I would like to certainly be involved in at some point. But I want to let you know about that. And then, very interestingly, in the email I got from them with all this information, they announced that they're having a competition, and it looks to me like anybody can be involved in this competition, and it has to do with analytics, which we talk about a lot, and that's what really got my attention. So they're having a contest. They say the best minds in analytics and player evaluation. They want you to have a draft or evaluation strategy that is a game changer. And what they'll do is they will bring you, the winner gets the opportunity to make a 5-minute presentation at the Pro Scout School and free admission to the school. And I can't remember what the cost is, but it's a pretty hefty price tag. So if you want to get involved in this, it'd be awesome. There's the email where you email your entries, get further information. I think that'd really be neat if somebody has the time this summer and wants to put together a project and compete in TPG's Scout School. So I want to make sure you knew that. All right, let's talk about summer plans. And let me just plant some seeds for you here, being that it's going to be June 1st in a couple days. I know you're all involved in camps, which is good. Well, one note on that that I would share with you, though, is if you're working camp primarily for networking opportunities with college coaches, be careful which camps you work. There's a lot of great camps out there that do a lot of super teaching and don't have maybe one person there that can help you with your network. Now, depending on why you're working the camp, if you're working it for networking, then you need to get to a place where there's a lot of coaches around that would be good for you to meet. Okay? We call that a dead camp and a live camp. And a dead camp could be the greatest basketball camp on earth, but if there's nobody there for you to meet and help grow your network, it doesn't matter, because that's what we're doing. And I'm not, great camps are great camps. I love them, but not for what we're trying to do with our network. All right. Because of the new NCAA rules, Division I teams are working out in June. They get a specific number of days designated on the calendar of when they can work with their players, either small one-on-one, small group, or as a team. And so teams are doing college workouts. And again, we talked earlier about the 3-hour radius. Get out to some workouts. The great advantage you have when you go to a college campus and you go into their practice facility or their arena and they're working out is that there's nobody else around. You've got a captive audience. You have a great opportunity to observe practice, learn about how they teach the game, learn some X's and O's, but you have a tremendous opportunity to meet every coach on that staff and administrative assistant and director of ops and video guys. If you go to a clinic somewhere to meet that head coach, you might be one of 300 people that meet him. So this is a great opportunity, and we usually don't talk about it in the summer, but because of the rules that came in last summer, you now have an opportunity to get out to campuses. Make sure you call ahead. Make sure you have a contact person and their phone number. You know how to get them. Do your due diligence before you leave. This summer, study the game. Don't just watch the NBA playoffs. Study the game. Now, you'll say, what do you mean by study the game? What I mean is find a part of the game that you need to gain some clarity on. You know, in a lot of you, if you're in education, you know, your summers, since we seem to a lot of places start so early in August anymore, that you know you don't have the traditional 3 month summer. So summers go by pretty fast. You can't study all parts of the game. So what I would do is figure out one part of the game that you want to learn more about, or maybe become an expert on that. Now, I'm getting ahead of myself here, but pick a project. I'll talk about it here in a second. So that's what study the game is. Get organized. I've spent entire summers just getting organized. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. I want you to think about breaking a press, so press offense. And let's say in your coaching career you've been to 20 clinics. And if I said to you, okay, what I want you to do, I'm in your office where all your basketball stuff is, and I say to you, in 3 minutes, I'd like you to get all the press break, press offense information that you've seen at any clinic you've ever been to, which is 20 clinics. And most guys would stand there and look at me and freeze, because they have no clue where it is. Now, if they do know where it is, they still are going to have a heck of a time finding that in 3 minutes, because you can't remember what topics were covered in a clinic 7 years ago. All right, so clinic notes are great, and they're in a folder. All right, maybe you've scanned them, they're on your computer. But if you haven't taken the topics that were presented from each clinic and take that and categorize that with your other information, how could that ever help you? And that's just an example. That's the way I think. You know, I need to put my hands on it. I figure if I can't get my hands on it, actually, I talk about a 30-second rule where you ought to be able to get anything in 30 seconds. But why even have it if you can't get to it and access it? If you can't find, how many times have you been in a file cabinet just looking for something that you know is in there that you just have to have, and it just drives you crazy? So get organized. Whether it be your clinic notes or whatever, just get organized. Think out of the box. It's summertime. You know, we get locked in with our team. We get tunnel vision. This is a time to really expand your mind. Think about other ways to play. Think about just study other people. You know, we really get in our own mind too much, and we stay there. Think of all the different sports and all the successful coaches. Think about all the businesses. Think about all the people out there who are in the top of their fields. What are they doing? Because we can learn from anybody. I remember Dick Bennett, the great Wisconsin coach, talking about his daughter being a 8th grade girls coach, and he in the Madison area, and he never missed any of her games unless he was playing. And he would go out and watch and take notes, because he said he'd pick up things constantly by going to watch 8th grade girls games. And this is Dick Bennett, one of the better minds that we've had in college basketball. That says a lot. All right, pick a project. Pick a project this summer. How about Michigan State's rebounding effort? Pull the stats up. Analyze their stats. Pull the stats up from 10 years ago when they had the national championship team that actually beat our Iowa State team in 2000. I guess 14 years ago. But that was a great team, and they could really rebound it. Okay, what is it about what they do? And would you like your team to rebound like Michigan State? Well, by going to practice next November and saying, hey, we got to rebound hard. We're going to rebound like Michigan State. No, that's not working. Study it. Try to figure out what they're doing, how they're teaching it, what drills they're using, and seeing if you can incorporate those into your team's culture, into your team's philosophy, and into practice. What a great thing to study. Study successful networkers. Well, how do those people get to know everybody? There's business people that absolutely know everybody. Authors, educators. Study other people that are successful in areas you want to be very good at. Make sense? Now, here's an example. A very good high school basketball coach that I know 2 summers ago wanted to study Bill Self's high-low offense. See, don't be the guy that says, we're going to run a different offense next year. I think we're going to run that Kansas high-low offense, and then spend 2 hours watching videotape or reading something off the internet and saying, yeah, I'm ready to teach that offense. Well, here's what he did. This was his project for the summer. I'm going to pull it up right here. Bill Self's high-low motion offense. This is a 28-page document. So this is the culmination of all the work that he did on this. Here's your table of contents. So he pulled videotapes from Championship Productions and went through them as his resources. Took notes, organized it, and created this document. And this is fantastic. I mean, it's anything by Bill Self, in my opinion, is fantastic. If you have any interest whatsoever in their high-low, these notes are a culmination of 3 entire DVDs that he's done. So it's a great document. And this is something I can make available to all of you also very easily. So, yeah, you can see it's a long one. It's 28 pages. So, and I wanted to show you that because that's a super example of using your time wisely in the summer. Go study part of the game. Or pick a weakness that you need to improve on and pick that. Okay. So this is the meat of what we wanted to visit with you about tonight. And I want to go back to this picture. I just think it says so much. You think about where you are today. Now, we could say, where were you a year ago? We know where you are today. Where were you a year ago? Right? And it'd be further down that path. And how about 2 years ago? How about 5 years ago? And some of you guys have been doing this a while. How about 10 years ago? It's a journey, guys, and you've got to stay with it. You got to celebrate the big and small victories and understand it's a process. So, with that in mind, we're going to begin with the end in mind. It's a very simple philosophy. Start with the end goal in your mind. So if I say, all right, in a year, 12 months, a year, where do you want to be in 12 months? What do you want it to look like? Where are you? What position do you have? Where are you coaching? You know, where's it located? Feel it. Visualize it. You can't get to a place unless you know where you're going. Begin with the end in mind. Where do I want to be in 12 months? How do I want my career, my life to look? You know, how will things be different than they are right now? All right, so great question. Where do you want to be in 12 months? And then the next thing is where most of you are going to fail. is because you won't write it down. And I can just tell you, I just know. I just know. Do you realize that? And this is one of the most mind-blowing stats I've ever heard. But Brian Tracy is a personal development guru, and he is a phenomenal motivator, goal setter, amongst many other things. His research that he's done through many years says that 3% of professionals actually physically write down their goals. Most of them did it years ago, and it collected dust. Most of them have them right here. Well, I'd like to do this. I'm thinking about doing this. It'd really be cool if I could do this. And they don't write it down. So if you want to be the 3 out of 100, you can take almost every successful people in the business world, we'll say, and they have meticulously written down goals. They have business plans. They have game plans for everything. So write it down. Where do you want to be? Write it down. What you might want to do is find a copy. Go on Google, and I don't know if I put mountain trail or what I did. Winding road, mountain. Anyway, there's a search, and find a picture. You'd probably be able to find the same one or one close, and post that. But write it down. Where you're going to be in 12 months. Post it. Put it up so you can see it. Okay, put it in the refrigerator in my house. I'll see it all the time, right? Put it in my car. Put it up by my CDs back here. I'll see it. And you see it and you think about it. And you remind yourself that it's a journey and I can't let myself down today. Today's important. This is the most important day in my coaching career to date. And that is a fair comment. Tomorrow is the most important day in your coaching career to date. That's true. Think about that. As was today, as was yesterday. So part of your 12 months, what are we going to work on? These are key areas, and this is not an end-all list, but without a question, everybody's going to work on their network. Now, we don't have the time, and this is not the place to go into, okay, now let's take network and break that down into its smallest pieces so we can figure out what to work on. That isn't for tonight. That could be for another program. But that idea in general, that skill in general of networking is huge. Working on your expertise. And you coaches that are here as guests, we talk so much about branding yourself and setting yourself apart. And what is it about the skill set you have that sets yourself apart? You don't want to be the guy who has the resume that looks like everybody else, the guy who chases the job, applies for the job like everybody else, the guy who emails like everybody else, the guy that talks about how hard working they are like everybody else. You don't want to be like everybody else. Well, you do that through branding and developing an expertise. You have a brand just like Apple, Coke, and Nike. Every coach does. You may not know that, and it's something that we work on in this program a lot because I think it's very important. Other key area, X and O, philosophy, video, and analytics. So these are all things that could work into that winding road up that mountain and others. It just depends on what you want to do. And then, of course, 12 months is a long time, right? If we break that down, we have a bunch of small pieces and we have some big pieces. And it's a puzzle we're putting together, actually. So there are short-term goals we're going to set, and there are long-term goals that we're going to set. And I'm going to specify what that means here on the next page. Now, I'd like this paragraph. I found this today in an article right here, the definition of short-term goal setting. And I really liked it, and we're going to look at it here in a second, but it's at the bottom of this article. And again, I can make this article available too. This is a very good article. Talks a lot about Zig Ziglar, who is who was a phenomenal motivational speaker and self-help guru. If you haven't heard of Zig Ziglar, you need to. He's one of the greatest. But be prepared to hit some roadblocks on your path to your goal. All right, now, is that picture on the title page appropriate? Roadblocks? You know, what if there's a rock slide? What if there's bad weather and the road turns to a sheet of ice? You know, what if it's 110 degrees and you have a flat tire? There's going to be roadblocks, guys. You know there are going to be. Don't let them define you. Don't let them stop you in your tracks and make you decide that, hey, this is going to be too hard. I can't do this. Don't do that. Allow for flexibility in your plan that will help you overcome those setbacks without too much discouragement. You're going to be discouraged. We're discouraged every day in life, in careers, with your family. That's just part of it. Okay, and you can be discouraged. Don't stay discouraged. That's the key. Okay, track your progress on a daily basis for short-term goals. It's a big part of what this article is about. Okay, I'm going to read that again. Track your progress on a daily basis. So if you're writing 2 handwritten notes a day, 4 days a week, chart your progress. Because if you don't, I'll ask you, how many notes did you write 3 weeks ago? Oh, let's see. 3 weeks ago, I was kind of busy with this. I was kind of busy. You know, I'm not sure. I might not have written any that week. You know, you need to know. If you're going to do the next 12 months justice, you need to know. And it says that way, when you feel discouraged, you'll have proof of your successful progression to boost your spirits. Those are little victories, right? In the end, reward yourself for a job well done. Wow. That's fantastic. Very good advice. Okay, a little bit more information. Let's dig in this a little bit more now. Short-term goals. You know, those can be minute by minute. Those can be hourly, daily, weekly, monthly. Could be 2 or 3 months at a time. So there's even different levels of short-term goals. But you've got to get it down to the hour. And you really got to get it down to the minute. And what that's called is proper use of the gift of time that you and I both have. You know, they say that time management is not what it should be called. That's not really the term. It should be event management because we all have the same amount of time. You know, people say, well, I ran out of time. No, you didn't. You decided to go watch a movie instead of come over to my house to my cookout. That's a choice. And it's not like one guy has 48 hours and another guy has 12 hours. It's all the same. So if we're talking about short-term goals, getting down to minutes, hours, days, that's just organizing your day. You know, some guys work in blocks of time. I've got a project I'm going to work on, and in the next 2 hours, nothing's going to distract me. I'm not going to do anything else. I'm not going to check my email. I'm not going to answer my phone. For the next 2 hours, this is what I'm doing. Then the next 2 hours, it's something else. If not, we end up frittering the day away, opening junk mail, checking our email, looking on ESPN, you know, for baseball scores. Hey, bottom line, you know, you can do that. Do that late at night when you're tired and you're going to bed and you're fried anyway mentally because it's been a long day. Don't do it in the great time of the day to be productive. So that's how that's what we mean when we say short-term goals. And then of course long-term goals are the 4, 6, 9, and 12-month periods. So your goal is larger at a 6 or 9 month period what you're asking yourself to do to produce after 6 or 9 months is going to be a lot bigger than it is after 2 days. But what a long-term goal 6 or 9 months away from right now is the culmination of everything you did minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day. See, it always adds up. You never start from scratch. We're always working on this. Working on your brand, working on your network, working on your understanding of the game, working on your organization, working on your people skills, working on your video editing. Pick up another expertise. Read information that's non-basketball. Be Kevin Eastman, who just unbelievable thirst for knowledge on how to be a better coach, better person, better motivator, better leader. And then those things accumulate, and you're going to look back. We're going to have this program, I promise you, at the end of May 2015. And I'm going to remind you many times on that program, hey, remember where you were a year ago when we did this program. Compare that to now. And I mean to tell you, every one of you are going to be like, oh, man, if I knew a year ago some of the great stuff that has happened, that was going to happen a year, oh, I wouldn't even have believed it. That is incredible. I'm so glad I plugged in and got a plan and worked my plan minute by minute, hourly, daily. It's always like that. Unless you give up and you just get neutral and the wheels are spinning and you're not making any progress. But that's a choice. So I talked about this earlier. Right now, this is where I want to be. And it's awesome because you can use it to compare and determine your progress. And, if things don't seem to be going anywhere and you are kind of stuck, revisit your goals. If you didn't write them down, you can't find them to read them, right? Go find them. After you've written them down, put them in a place where you can find them in 30 seconds. Read them and remind yourself how important it is to do this and what is the end goal. What is the reason that you're busting your tail for in the first place. I found this and I love this, and I thought this was perfect for tonight. You must have long-range goals to keep you from being frustrated by short-range failures. That is just so awesome because we're all going to fail in the short term. We're all going to have obstacles. Right? There's going to be trouble along the road somewhere. And as you get frustrated, you got to keep in mind the prize. Keep your eye on the prize. And that'll help you work through the short-range failures. I know a lot of you are like me. You find a lot of motivation from sayings and quotes, and that is a tremendous one for what we're doing tonight. Okay, and then I thought what I'd share was, because one of the questions I usually get is, well, give me an example. When you say take something like networking and break it down into minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, week by week tasks, what do you mean? So to give you some insight on that, so you know actually how to do this, I'm taking network as an example. Okay, so these are my thoughts. If I'm going to work on networking for the next 12 months to build a large and a deep coaching tree, what am I going to have to do? Well, and this is an example, so just kind of go along with me. I'll talk as if this is me, but okay, so I'm on this program, and I listen to what's being said, and so one good thing for me to do is to say, okay, I need to get my network to 100 coaches. Right now it's 31. Between now and 12 months from now, okay, I've got to get that to 100. Okay, so that's a great way to give yourself an idea of where you're headed. All right? So that would be one consideration. That'd be really good. Okay, second thing is identify your current network. Maybe you've met 3 or 4 guys in the last couple months and you just haven't revisited your network where you actually write down your name in the middle circle, right? The exercise 1 to million, an exercise that everybody absolutely has to do, mandatory. So identify or update your current network. You need to know who's on that network of yours. All right, once you do that, next thing you can do to further break down the task of increasing your network over the next 12 months is to analyze, that should say 2 and 3 degree connections. 2 and 3 degree connections. And research, analyze, study, mull over what your network looks like on paper. And you're trying to draw a line, you are drawing a line between you and someone you know, that's 1 degree, and then you identify who they know. Who does your buddy know? Well, if your buddy knows this very good coach on the West Coast, then you're connected to that very good coach on the West Coast through the fellow you know. And that's 1, him, 2, the coach on the West Coast. You're only 2 degrees removed from a great coach that's on TV all the time that can really help you in your career. So identify people that the people you already know have as part of their network. And that could take some time. That would be really good. But, get out of a busy place, get out of the office, get out of, an environment where people can bother you, because you're going to need to really think and research and get on the internet and those types of things. Okay, list all the ways to build your network. This is where you got to start thinking out of the box. How can I meet coaches? What if I said everybody's got to come up with a list of 10 ways to meet coaches? It'd be a great exercise. In fact, I'm going to put that down for future use. List 10 ways that you can meet more coaches to build your network. Don't be tunnel vision. All right, next. Choose a group of 5 and begin relationship building. This could be a group of 5 people that you already know, maybe on a little bit of a surface relationship. You just kind of know them, they just kind of know you, and you're thinking, hey, this guy is really good, he's sharp, he's going to be a head coach, very successful someday. And while he's an assistant now, he would be a really good guy for me to meet and get to know. Once you get to know someone, and if it's somebody you really want to be an integral part, an anchor of your network, then you need to begin to build a relationship with that person and drive depth in your network with that person. Depth is where it's at. And that is strong relationships with people. People who can and will help you in your career. Those are Babe Ruths. Those are guys that you need. So choose 5 of those. It could be a 2 degree that you don't even know, but your buddy knows them. And use that as leverage to make an initial phone call and then begin the relationship building process. And again, we can't go into detail on how you would go about building those relationships, but it's one of the things that I'm best at, to understand how to do that. And again, that's what's so cool about this program, is because I could literally probably have a program every other night, year round, and still have a million topics to cover. But I do my best trying to condense this for you guys and to stimulate your thinking. So hopefully I have. All right. Next, you're going to need to get a calendar out. All right. So we've identified I want a network of 106 in 6 months. Identify current network 2. Analyze 2 and 3 degrees is 3. Number 4 is list all the ways you can network. 5 is choose a group of 5 to begin relationship building. All right, now those 5 things, that's a lot. Well, how are we going to fit those into all the days and hours 365 days and all those hours that go into this next year. You're going to get a calendar and you're going to break it into parts. This is usually where guys give up. This is usually where they know intellectually what to do to be organized and to really see this through. But when you have to be this detailed and this organized to do it, most guys just say, I'll wing it. I'll wing it. And I'm just here to tell you, if that's your attitude, then you're going to do the same thing with your career. You're just going to wing it. And guys that wing it in this profession don't last. So take the time to get your calendar out. I don't care if it's a wall calendar, if it's one of those big ones in your desk, if it's something you can fit in your pocket, if it's a daytime, I don't care. Make one up. A calendar, break it into parts, hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, series of months. Okay? Why? What do you do with that? You post your goals. And then you assign a target goal to each time frame on the calendar. You're going to say, by Friday, because I'm going to write, and I'm just using for an example, I'm going to write one note, handwritten note, Monday through Friday. On Sunday, I check my progress for that week, and I need to have written at least 5. That would be an example of assign a target goal for each time frame on your calendar. That'd be a good one. If you're working on your X's and O's, it would be you're going to watch X amount of videotape. You're going to read X amount. And this is what you want to learn out of that for that day, that week, that hour, that month. So we're just chopping it up is what we're doing. If you've never done this, it's a daunting task. I mean, it's not easy. But I will tell you, it'll be one of the biggest breakthroughs you've ever had. If you see this through and you're diligent about doing this, you'll be 10 times better than you could ever dream of being. I mean, you'll be so laser focused and you will be so organized. You will have learned so much because you're taking advantage literally of every moment. Working on yourself and working on your game, working on your career. What else can you do? Continue assigning to the smallest time frame, whether it be an hour or a half hour, 15-minute periods of time. You know, I know guys that work in 15-minute blocks. Their days lined up like that. Wouldn't work for me, but it works for them. Could work for you. Frequently check your progress. You don't want to go 3-4 months and then say, I should look back at the goals I set. Where did I want? What was my short-term goal 3 months into this? June, July, August. So the end of August. What was my goal? Well, I don't know. You have to. If you're going to go to all this time and it's this important, why would you not stop and say, okay, where am I? How do I stack up against where I wanted to be at this time, this short term, 3 months? All right. If I like where I'm at, awesome, celebrate, high five, the whole deal. If not, don't get discouraged, but just figure out why you haven't in 3 months got to the point where you desired to get. And then retool and make adjustments, because the next thing says readjust your goals if needed. This is a crazy example, but if you say by the end of the summer, I want to have met every Division I head coach in the country. Okay, ludicrous, right? It's never going to happen. So, and that's outrageous example. But let's just say, and you get to the end of August, and you're like, I only met 2. Readjust your goals. Goals are never in stone. They're ever evolving. Just readjust them. And then build into September, that next month, according to the readjustment you've done in your goals. Celebrate each milestone, guys, please. End of the day, end of a minute, end of the week, month, celebrate. It's a journey. If you do 25 push-ups a day and you say it's not doing me any good, can you imagine how many you'll be doing in 6 months? It's incredible. And that is a wonderful example of how continuous work adds up and culminates into something special. Don't ever don't ever think that the things you're doing don't pay off, because they do. They absolutely do. Don't ever lose sight of that. Everything you do is an investment into where you're going with your career. Realize how much you've done, how far you've come. If nothing else, a lot of times I'm a cheerleader, because I've been there and I've been down, and I just didn't think it was going to work out. I wasn't sure I was ever going to get that entry-level position. And I had my doubts at times. But you just keep plugging. And I hope this has been insightful for you, because these guts, we can talk about a lot of the other stuff we talk about in our programs, but this is one of my favorites, because I'm helping you paint a vision of where you are, where you want to go, and then how to get there. If I just said, well, let's figure out where you are now, figure out where you were going to be in a year. Hey, great, good job. It's not working. If so, every single buddy in this world would do that. That's why only 3% have written down their goals physically on paper. Because people will not do the ordinary, average things they're capable of doing on a consistent basis. We live in a soft world. People are not nearly as disciplined as we should be, including me. So I hope from that vantage point, this has really helped. And I promise you, in fact, I'm going to shoot for May 29th, 2015. I'm going to shoot for this day, because I want to go back. That's why you darn well better write all of this down, because I'm going to go back and ask every one of you, okay, a year ago, where did you say you wanted to be today? And wouldn't it be really cool if we could actually compare where we wanted to go looking forward and where we actually did end up in 12 months? That'd be awesome. That's what this is all about. So in conclusion, we covered a lot of stuff. I need to do more highlighting what's going on in the program. I've got better at that, but instead of delivering content, I think it's really important for you guys, number one, to get recognized if you've done something that's really been good, or worked hard or made progress, or even if it's a little bit of a downer on stuff. But I think it's important for each of us to know that there's a lot going on in this community, and you just need to keep plugging. This isn't easy. That's why you're a 10%er. The 90%ers will never make it. It's too hard for them. They come up with excuses. They're too soft. They complain. They blame. They rationalize everything. If you're a 10%er, you're less than 1 out of 10 who comes to me and says, I want to be a college basketball coach. And you end up on the, if you're on this program tonight, whether you're in our elite mentoring now, right now or not, it doesn't matter. If you are sitting here with me, like a good number of you are right now, that means that 99% of the other guys out there who say they want to be more than anything else in the world a college basketball coach, that means you've trumped those guys. And I mean that seriously, because you guys are here and you guys are working on it. And you guys will make it happen. I'm convinced. So, congrats to you guys for being here and investing in your career. That's what it's all about. And you know I'll be here. And I just guide you. The power of this program is the power of the people in the program. Reach out and grab a buddy. You know, you can grab a buddy in this, and I think it's a great deal. And you guys have done that a lot. We have a lot of pairs. We have a lot of groups of 3 where guys get together on a frequent basis, and just troubleshoot back and forth. Hey man, this is really bugging me. Can you help me? I know you were a GA at one time, but can you help me try to figure out how And that's what it's about, guys. I mean, take advantage of that because that is really, really what this is all about. So, to wrap up, I want to thank you for being here, for investing in your career. What we covered is so monumental in terms of ensuring success in the days ahead for you, and not only in your career in basketball, but in your life, that I could never do justice to it. But if you're not willing to go back through every one of those slides and identify those things that you've got to do, you've got to write it down where you're going to go. All those steps that are in this program, and you're going to have access to the recording here shortly. And I'll make sure you get the link so you can revisit it. You can go back through it again. If you're not willing to break the smaller pieces into little tiny pieces and fit them into your calendar, and take the big goals and fit those into your calendar, the more long range stuff, then honestly, a year from now, you're going to say, man, what an idiot. I can't believe I basically wasted a year. You know, I plugged into all the programs and I went to the Final Four and I did this and I did that, but you know, I didn't get the job I wanted to get. It just didn't work out, and I blew just 12 months of my career. Now, how sad would that be if you've got to actually say that to yourself? And there's no need for that because you're special. You guys are 10 percenters. You got to take this on and run with it. And if you do, what's going to happen up here in this diagram at 12 months is going to be an unbelievable place. And there's going to be some great stuff going on. Promise me. Promise me you'll do that. Because I can tell you, it works. And I would not have taken an entire program on this if I didn't think it was that important. Because I really do. So, any questions that you guys might have, type in. If not, I will wrap it up. And Derek says, you got my word. I love that. I love that. So there's a commitment right there. And he's actually typed it down, which is cool. You know, there's such power in writing things down. Anthony says, I don't have a choice. Actually, you do. Just make the right one. But I know what you're saying. If you really want to do this coaching, then you're right. You don't have a choice. You got to do it. Or else it's not going to work out. And for the news you just shared with me, man, that is tremendous. Congrats again. And you're on your way. Okay? You're on your way. Coach Little, that's awesome. That's awesome. And there's nobody in our program. We've got 33 coaches in our program. There's nobody that is not committed to doing this. And so that's what's so fun to work with this community. So thanks for the guys that are in the program. The guys who are guests tonight. And Coach Little, you've been really active in our program. Stephen, I think this is the first program that you've been on. Anthony's been with us, of course, and has got jump-started with that new job. Dan, you're with us for the first time. And so you first time or guests, really think about what we did tonight is like a snowball on the Rocky Mountain because it's just a morsel of what we need to do, what I need to help you with, what you need to learn, what I need to guide you on, because tonight is awesome and it's huge, but it's a small piece. So if you're wondering, what is this elite mentoring all about? It's this right now on steroids. I mean, we go, man. We go. We're going. But the more I think about it, I love that. I don't have a choice. You're right. If you're going to do this, you don't have a choice. So those of you that have been in Fast Track, okay, I want to see you in this mentoring program with these 33 other coaches who will do anything to help you and learn like this in this environment on a very frequent basis. Those of you that are brand new like Dan, and I'm so glad you're here, that's awesome. Our Fast Track program is probably where I would push you. That would be awesome. And I want you to follow up with me. via email, and I'm going to get you that information. But Jeff, you're welcome. You guys keep plugging away. That's what it's all about. So thanks. It's been awesome. I really enjoyed it. It's amazing how fast 75 minutes can go when you're when you're just digging it and you're working on things that you're so passionate about and they're so important. And I just know I have to convey these things to you guys to help you get to where you want to go. So with that, have an awesome night. I'm sure the game's still on. And I will get you the link where this is going to be. I will also get you the Bill Self high-low 28-page condensed report, the article about definition of short-term goals. I'll get all that to you. All right. Awesome. Have a great night. See you guys.